Now, Kit touched on Mr. Richard Goodall's special performance. It's important to note just how much of an impact his impressive vocals have made around the world.
And what do you do for a living?
I've been a janitor for 23 years.
It came out that Richard Goodall's $1 million win on America's Got Talent was a scam. This janitor, celebrated across the nation, was supposed to get $1 million, but it turns out it's just small payments spread over 40 long years. So was he ever really a millionaire or just part of a flashy show? What's the real deal behind those camera flashes in the big celebration? Tune in to expose the horrifying details into Richard Goodall's supposed $1 million scam, the strange path of a janitor to stardom. Richard Goodall won the 19th season of America's Got Talent, capturing the audience's hearts and earning a promised $1 million. As confetti fell and cheers echoed in the auditorium, the former janitor was celebrated not just for his talent, but for his incredible journey from humble beginnings to national stardom. As the cheers died down, a shadowy figure approached Richard and whispered, "Now the real show begins, and it's not on stage." Winning such a large sum should have changed his life completely. But things weren't as simple as they seemed. Once the excitement faded, the details of the prize were revealed. The $1 million wasn't handed over all at once, but was set up as an annuity, meaning he would get smaller payments over 40 years. This raised questions. Could he really be called a millionaire? His journey on the show was truly inspiring. From his first audition to the final performance, his story as a school janitor chasing his dreams struck a chord with many people. It wasn't just his singing, it was his drive and passion that made everyone watching feel connected to his dream. But as the spotlight dimmed and the applause quieted, the reality of his prize began to show. The details of the award weren't just a small oversight, they were a huge part of the story. The show mentioned it quickly at the end, where it could easily be missed by the audience and even by the contestants. The fact that his prize would be paid out over 40 years meant that the millionaire label was more of a title than a financial truth. This isn't just his situation. Many game shows have prize structures like this, often making the winnings seem bigger than they really are at first glance. But this wasn't the only surprising part. It brings up a larger issue about sudden fame and how it often appears more glamorous than it really is. TV shows can make success and wealth look instant, but when you look closer, the truth is often more complicated. His story reminds us that these dream-come-true moments can have strings attached, and that things aren't always what they seem. As he moves forward after his time on America's Got Talent, the long-term impact of his win is still uncertain. While the title and payments will always be part of his story, the huge lifestyle changes people might expect may not fully happen. His story is still one of hope and perseverance, though. Even with the fine print, it shows that chasing your dreams can pay off. Just not always in the way you might think. He spent his days singing at small local events and entertaining kids during lunchtime at school. He always felt deep inside that he was meant to do something bigger. When he decided to audition for America's Got Talent, no one could have guessed the reaction he would get. The moment he started singing, his voice, full of emotion, touched everyone in the room. His audition left a strong impression on people who saw their own dreams in his story. He wasn't a professional performer. He was just an everyday guy with an amazing talent. His singing earned him a standing ovation, even from the usually tough Simon Cowell, who praised him for his true talent. Soon, the media took notice and started calling him the janitor with the golden voice. His story became a source of inspiration, proving that anyone, no matter where they come from, can reach for their dreams. As the show continued, he kept surprising everyone with his performances. He quickly became a favorite to win, but with his fast rise to fame came a lot of pressure. The non-stop demands of the competition, the heavy media attention, and the expectations of millions of viewers started to take a toll on him. Behind the scenes, the stress was starting to weigh on him. The reality of TV glamour isn't as shiny as it seems. The reality of game show riches. People began to wonder if he could handle what would happen if he won. Even more, they started asking if the $1 million prize was as amazing as it seemed. The show made it look like winning would instantly change someone's life, turning them into a millionaire overnight. The truth, though, was a lot different. Even though the show advertised a $1 million prize, it wasn't paid all at once. Instead, it was given out as small payments over 40 years. That meant the winner would only get around $25,000 each year before taxes. For him, who had joined hoping for quick financial relief, this news was disappointing. $25,000 a year may sound nice at first, but it's not the huge amount most people think. And after taxes, it would be even less. For him, the dream of becoming a millionaire was slipping away. There was an option to take a smaller lump sum instead, but even that would be much less, around $300,000 to $400,000 after taxes. A big difference from the advertised prize. His life changed dramatically when he won America's Got Talent. Suddenly, everyone knew his name, and he was no longer just a quiet guy living a simple life. With the fame came a lot of attention that he didn't want. Every step he took, people were watching, judging, and commenting. This made it tough for him to enjoy his success and focus on what he loved most, making music. Instead of the joy he expected, he now faced constant interruptions in both his personal and professional life. One of the biggest surprises was that the prize money was a lot less than the promised $1 million. He had dreamed of leaving his job as a janitor to pursue music full-time, but when he found out the real amount, it was a huge disappointment. Although still a big sum, it wasn't nearly enough to quit his job and jump fully into his music career like he had hoped. Even accessing this smaller prize wasn't easy. There were so many legal rules and complicated terms that Richard didn't fully understand when he signed up for the show. Before he could even step on the stage, he had to sign pages and pages of legal documents filled with complex language. These papers explained the competition rules, what the prize really meant, and what he would have to do if he won. At the time, he didn't pay much attention to all the fine print because he was just excited about following his dreams. But later, he would learn that missing those details came with a heavy price. After winning, Richard found himself stuck in a strict management contract. This meant the show's producers had control over many aspects of his career. They decided when and where he could perform, what events he could attend, and when he could release new music. For someone who valued creative freedom, this was a huge problem. The contract didn't just affect his music, but almost every move he wanted to make as a musician. The contract also stated that a part of his earnings from performances and any deals would go to the show's producers. This meant that even though the prize was less than he expected, he still had to give up a portion of any money he made afterward. This left Richard with even fewer funds to pursue his dreams, making it almost impossible to take his music career to the next level. Fame's shadow makes Richard's music dreams harder to reach, the unexpected costs of winning. As he tried to navigate through all these legal hurdles, he started to see that winning the show was not the golden opportunity he thought it would be. It came with a lot more strings attached than he ever imagined. Instead of feeling free to create music, he felt trapped by contracts and business interests that seemed to have more control over his life than he did. Richard realized that while he had gained fame, his dream of becoming a full-time musician was still out of reach. The path forward was more complicated than ever, with each step feeling weighed down by legal constraints and obligations to others. Instead of focusing on his music, he was tied up in endless negotiations and stuck with limited choices. Winning had opened new doors, but it also closed many others, leaving Richard to wonder if it was all worth it in the end. Richard found himself overwhelmed with requests for interviews, public events, and performances after his sudden rise to fame. This surge of attention quickly took away his control over his own time, as the demanding entertainment industry began to wear him down mentally and physically. At the same time, the media started digging into his finances, questioning whether he would actually get the full $1 million prize he was promised on the show. Rumors and doubts about the real value of the show's reward spread quickly in the news. As Richard tried to protect his privacy and adjust to his rapid climb to stardom, he realized his win brought more problems than benefits. His hopes for financial freedom and control over his music seemed further away than ever. Going from a small-town janitor to a national celebrity was a bumpy ride. While he had dreamed of sharing his music with the world, the reality that followed was filled with high-pressure demands, legal issues, and money troubles, leaving him feeling overwhelmed and disappointed. One of his toughest challenges was keeping up with the fast pace of the entertainment world. After winning, he was expected to create new music, plan shows, and stay active in the spotlight. But coming from a quiet life working at a school, the sudden spotlight was jarring. On top of that, The loneliness that came with his new life hit hard. He was used to being surrounded by family and friends, but now he was often traveling alone, which only made him feel more isolated. Think back to shows like America's Got Talent, where winners, emotional and thrilled under a rain of confetti, are promised life-changing rewards. But that's not always how it turns out. As we look deeper into what really happens after winning these competitions, we see a different story. Despite the show's promise of instant success and a luxurious lifestyle, the actual experience can be much more complicated. Richard's struggle went beyond finances. He was battling with keeping his creative freedom while trying to meet the constant demands from the industry. The truth about the prize show's winning isn't all it's made out to be, calculating tomorrow's fortune. In today's world, it's all about understanding how much money is really worth now compared to what it might be worth in the future. Experts like those at Forbes look at things like inflation, because $1 million today won't be worth the same in 40 years. When you hear lump sum, it means getting all the cash at once, but some of it gets taken away for taxes and other reasons. So why do they do it this way instead of giving the full amount? It has a lot to do with how expensive it is to run reality TV shows. Think about the cost of building sets, paying the crew, and hiring celebrity judges. Spreading out the prize money over time helps them keep the show's budget balanced. Plus, promoting $1 million prize sounds good for marketing, even though the winner actually gets it bit by bit over 40 years. But there's a benefit for the winner too. Getting a steady income for that long could help keep their finances stable. There's another side to it: opportunity. What new chances come with the prize? Remember Grace VanderWaal, the young singer with the ukulele who won back in season 11 in 2016? She's now about to star in a big movie. That's the kind of impact these shows can have. America's Got Talent isn't just a one-time event, it's a stepping stone. Or think about Adrian Stoica and his dog Hurricane, winners of season 18. They're now performing in Las Vegas. AGT isn't just about getting a quick shot at fame, it's about setting up a lasting career. But that's only half the story. Winning isn't enough by itself. You need a plan for what comes next. This is where strategy comes in. Just being talented on stage isn't enough. It's the beginning of the journey. To really make the most out of the win, building a strong brand around your talent is key. Sure, AGT gives you a great start, but the real test is in how you market yourself after the show. This could mean creating a unique image, using social media to stay connected with fans, releasing albums, or going on tour. But here's the catch. Not every winner turns into a superstar. Some get their moment in the spotlight and then fade away. That's where reality sets in. Success isn't just about talent. It's about having a good plan to keep the momentum going long after the show is over. In fact, some past winners have struggled, reminding us that fame can be short-lived if you don't have a clear path forward. Still, for some, AGT has been a game changer. Dance groups, for instance, have turned their time on stage into profitable businesses through tours and selling merchandise. It shows how important it is to grab hold of the opportunity when it comes. But again, this isn't the whole picture. Even with a great launchpad like AGT, only those who have a vision for what's next truly thrive. If the goal is just to win, the story often ends there. If the goal is to build a career, that's when the real work begins. After their time on season 13, some contestants chose to go back to their normal lives. One singer in particular found out that being famous wasn't as great as they expected. It turns out that not everyone is suited for a life in the spotlight, which has its own set of difficulties. These struggles include the constant pressure, being watched by the public all the time, and the emotional stress that comes with it. It takes a lot of inner strength to handle this, and even then, having support from friends and family makes a big difference. It makes you wonder if contestants really know what they're getting into. The promise of a big cash prize and TV fame might be tempting, but the reality is much harder to handle. After the show, the real struggles begin, the unseen challenges of reality show fame. Some articles talk about the need for contestants to understand their strengths and know what they really want from the experience. There are actually two challenges, the one on stage and the one that starts after the show ends. The second one can be tougher. It's not just about showing talent, it's about making smart choices after the show to build a career that lasts. To do this, they often need more than talent. They need to know the right people and have a bit of luck too. Some winners use their fame for good. They support causes they care about, raising money and awareness. This brings up an important question. Does winning the show really change your life? Yes, it does, but not just because of the money or fame. It's about the new opportunities that come with it and what the winners decide to do with them. So the real reward isn't just the prize. It's about creating your own success story, whatever that may look like. But the real story is about the people. Some past winners became famous, while others went back to their old lives. Some did really well, but others had a tough time. Their stories show that there's no single way to find success, whether after the show or in life. Knowing your strengths and what you want is key to handling what comes next. Still, it's true that the bigger the risk, the bigger the reward. But it's also true that things can change quickly, for better or worse. This makes having a strong support system really important, whether it's family, friends, or mentors. These stories show the highs and lows of sudden fame, and each winner's journey is unique. But this isn't the end of the story. There's always more to consider when the cameras stop rolling. It's important for champions to have someone who keeps them grounded and reminds them of what's really important, especially when things around them get overwhelming. There's a saying, it takes a village to raise a star, and that couldn't be more accurate. It's not just about handling tough situations. It's also about recognizing those champions who use their fame to bring attention to meaningful causes and inspire others. For example, there's a story of a past winner who used their time in the spotlight to talk openly about mental health. They shared their personal struggles, which really resonated with people. This shows how fame can be more than just entertainment. It can be used for good. And that's what makes this analysis so interesting. It's not just about clearing up misconceptions about reality TV prizes, though that's part of it. It's really about looking at the impact of fame, the opportunities it brings, and the choices people have to make at crucial points in their lives. But here's where it gets even more complex. Fame isn't just about what's on the surface. There are layers to it. How it changes a person, the people it attracts, and the responsibilities it brings. These are all things that can either strengthen or break someone, depending on how they handle it. Do you think reality TV reflects or distorts our true nature? Like, comment, and subscribe for more.